Well, I can't leave my peeps out there on this crazy crypto day without giving you some input about what I see going on in the market. One of the bullish things we were looking at in Bitcoin was that it did break out of this falling wedge pattern right here. And of course, on days like today and with the FOMC, we get whipsaw action. So it turned out to be a fake out, a very good fake out, if I might say. But we really haven't broken this line right here, and that's a good sign. So I'm on the 1 hour Bitcoin chart here. We've broken back into the pattern, but we're staying inside this pattern. What I'm looking for is for us to break back up out of this pattern, do a retest, and hopefully start making our way slowly back up after all this mess that we've just witnessed today, right? Now, I mentioned in the last video that we would be expecting a retest of our breakout point from this falling wedge, which is about 19.4, or possibly come down and retest this trend line, and that we could expect a bounce back up after that. I still think that's the situation that we are in. We have just really tested that trend line, actually came back down to touch our other bottom trend line. And if we zoom out, say like to the 8 hour, that really just reinforces us building this double bottom pattern. This is probably not the last time that we'll visit this realm. We'll probably come back up and kind of retest this area again over, say, the next month or so. So that's just what's in the cards for us. We still have a good chance to make it to this 22,000 area as long as we stay outside of this outer trend line. Now, if we break below it and stay there, or we break below this bottom trend line, total different scenario. But as it stands right now, we still got a good chance of still making that 22K after all the dust settles from all this FOMC and excitement and fear that we just have run in the market. And thank you, Gary Gensler, for your added help in this situation. Now, the lower time frames are still looking a little bearish. And we did make a lower low from what we had over here, right? But I want you to look close at this wick. Look at all that buy pressure that came up while they were driving these prices down to the ground. We have a ton of buyers stacked for cheap Bitcoin. And so in my mind, it's going to be hard for us to actually get down to that 17.5. We've got to break before we can even entertain going to 14 or 15 that everybody seems to be screaming about. And as I said before, it's the DXY, the dollar index, that we've got to keep our eye on. And it was actually a lot more bullish than I gave it credit for. It still has not broken into this trend line. What it's doing is just coming up to retest this trend line area. So maybe, just maybe, tomorrow we can finally get that break and get just a little bit of downside action here. Now, on the chance that it breaks back into this pattern, and on the chance that it breaks out of this pattern, then I would be looking for a big drop to 15,000. That's what we want to keep our eye on. If the dollar can get rejected up here on one of these trend lines and start coming down, that will give us some much needed relief in this scenario. So Bitcoin, we got a little cooling down phase. We may be coming back down to the lower 18,000s, 18,002, retest that kind of area. But my Ichimoku is not showing any signs of thinning and coming down. We're still looking all right there, so I'm not as worried. Our stochastics are coming down to start the reset. And this is the one thing that gives me hope. Going from here to here, we've got a sloping line sloping down. And on our RSI from that point, we're sloping up. We've got some bullish divergence that is forming here. And that will give us a lift to the upside in some time. We've still got to settle down, clear the dust, but I think we'll come out of this smelling like a rose like we usually do about every month, and we'll get ready and go through this same thing again next month when they release all this information and data out again. So just be prepared. Now, Polkadot took a nice little beating there, hit the ranges that we talked about in our Polkadot video, even came down to our oh crap target of 605, went under it. Looks like we came in about 597. What a great price to pick up Polkadot. I picked up some around here. I missed this one at 586. Wow, that would have been awesome. So currently on Polkadot, we've got what might be considered a bear flag. However, it is a falling wedge kind of pattern, which has a tendency to break to the upside. And let me just give you the news on the daily. Our indicators are running low. Stochastics are running low. Looks like we're trying to print a green dot on the market cipher, and our RSI is down at a low of 28 on the daily. We could possibly revisit the 605 area just depending on what happens to Bitcoin, but we should be getting a turnaround here according to the indicators on the larger time frames. But do know that we've got a 618 Fibonacci level here at $5.07. If things were to get really bad, that might be an area to either to short to or plan on trying to pick up some really good deals on Polkadot. But if we zoom on down here to the 1 hour, we can see where that big fake out came. Even got a fake out kind of down here on the bottom, and we're back into the channel again. That's a good sign. So this is a great time to start picking up some altcoins when all the fear is in the streets, right? If you want to target for this little move that we just completed, all this whipsaw action we have, I've got a target down here at $5.79. as a possibility. However, if we get a breakout to the upside, we could be looking at $6.55. Now, XRP is surprisingly one that's actually kind of followed what I had here. We came back up to our area, 43 cents, and we should probably get rejected from that and start seeing some downside down to around the 31 cent area. Now, however, if we get lucky on XRP and something miraculous happens where we break up outside of that, you could be looking at a target about 55, 56 cents or XRP, but it'd have to break this trend line, retest it, and hold that support, right? More than likely, we will be coming back down to the 31 cent area. So it might be a good time to consider taking profit on XRP. I did take some profit on some of my XRP trades into Bitcoin, made a nice little sized gain there as far as my Bitcoin goes. But the other option that we could see here is just coming back down to retest this trend line about 35 cents. Then making our way up. So keep your eye out for that possibility happening too, because this trend line is still valid. And that would be a great place to find support before we get more upside from XRP. However, if it breaks down into it, we will be looking to go at least 31 cents. If that does not hold, we're looking at a different animal, and your first target would be about 24 cents. But let's not cross that bridge until we get there, right? Now, Atom, or Cosmos, has been on a tear. It came down to about $5.72, and it has just been trailing up ever since then. Been doing very well. Now, this is one of my long-term holds. This is a coin that if you take this and stake this, you line yourself up for so many airdrops. I can't tell you how profitable this coin has been for me just by staking. But is it the good time to get into it? I mean, catching it on the bottom trend line, that could be at a low, but the price I really like to get in this is around $8 to $9. So if we do get a break from Atom and we come back to lower levels, that's one to think about getting into, and especially staking it. And I do plan on putting out a video about Atom and the Osmosis DEX, a lot of the projects that are doing really well on the Cosmos IBC chain. Really great project to be in on. So depending on how we view this, and this is on the daily here, we either broke back into our pattern, which is okay, or we're starting to make a rising megaphone pattern. Now this is bearish, and there is a measured move for this pattern. So if Atom were to break down and break this bottom trend line and come down further, we could be looking at about $6.29, $6.30 for Atom, and I would be snatching some up at that price. And the indicators are showing that we could get a little downward action, but honestly, I'd see it having a hard time breaking this trend line. But if it does, keep your eye on it for picking up Atom at a great price and possibly even shorting it down to that price once it breaks that line. Well, guys, this is what I'm seeing going on in the crypto market today. And I know it's very scary out there with prices dropping and all this whipsaw action as everybody's just manipulating the prices before and after all the data's coming out. And that's typical. But the floor has not fallen out of Bitcoin or crypto yet. And if you notice, if you look closely, as Bitcoin is dropping down, these altcoin prices are not yet coming down to some of those same levels. Some of them are. The strong ones are not. Your better prices were a little while back, and they're not making them down to those levels yet. That's a good sign for crypto. And until Bitcoin falls down to about 17,500 and starts flirting with breaking that, I'm not going to sweat this. Just keep an eye on the dollar to DXY, and that will give you the biggest clues for what you can expect as far as crypto goes. And it will be shaky for quite a little while here. But I do see a chance for Bitcoin to go up to 22K. We've just got to break above that trend line and hold it. Keep your eye on that. Until next time, my name is Lane, your crypto road dog, signing off. Be blessed, be positive, and always remember, as crazy as this market gets, you still got this.
Hey, buddy, why don't you and me, we have a little talk about the like button down here? I hit it. I think you should hit it too. Yeah. That's what I'm talking about. Welcome to the family.